This is Aaron Golub, host of the Blind Ambition podcast. We'll be bringing you world-class leaders, entrepreneurs, and athletes, people who have overcome obstacles and used their ambition to create enormous success in their lives. If you enjoy this podcast, if you get anything out of it, the only thing I'll ever ask is that you subscribe, rate, and review. Hope you enjoy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Aaron Golub, and today I'm joined by Kyle Depiesse.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks so much for joining today. How's your week going so far?
It's good. Well, first, I'm excited to be here. So thanks for asking me on. The week is good, man. We're, when we're recording this, we just got done with the Thanksgiving holiday, and we're looking at Christmas, and it's a great time of year.
No, yeah, I completely agree, and I'm excited to have you here, share your unique story. You're doing some really incredible things with creating mastermind events and really unique experiences for people around the country. Mm-hmm. I think where I'd like to start, though, is your previous career, because I know one of the things that you've talked about in the past is you got tired of that life. You were working then 9 to 5, working your way up the ladder, and you got tired of it. Talk a little bit about your career, what you did every day to keep going, and then why eventually you made this shift.
Yeah, great question. I'd love to start there. So I'm a corporate America guy. I like to say I'm retired from corporate America. But my path has been corporate America. And it was what a lot of people maybe listening to this right now are thinking as well. And it's, climb the corporate ladder. That's what we all believe in. And, every 2-3 years, you should be getting promoted, new title, more money, a bigger, better office. And I fell into that trap, Aaron. And that was the game that I was playing, is for 13 years trying to climb the corporate ladder in corporate America. And it ultimately led me to getting burned out. So, just mentioned a little bit ago, Thanksgiving and Christmas, this time of year, it came to a head to me about 6 years ago, Thanksgiving Day. When I smile now thinking about it, but on that day, I went into work at about 4 a.m, and my family was visiting me from out of town at that time. And that's when I kind of woke up and I said, what am I doing? I say that family's more important, and then it's work. However, my priorities and my values are all upside down, and I'm leaving my family that's visiting from out of town, and I'm going into work at 4 a.m. What am I doing? What am I doing? And that was really kind of the wake up call for me, which started me on this path to leaving corporate America, becoming a high school business teacher, to being a stay-at-home dad, to developing the business that you alluded to a little bit earlier. Yeah. So that's kind of the path.
And I get that completely, because I think so many people don't understand, don't realize that there are so many other ways to create a successful life than the corporate life. And so, for example, I do 2 things now. I'm a speaker and I also work in finance. And although my part in finance is in kind of corporate America, so to speak, it's a very entrepreneurial role, as you know. And because of that, I don't get tied down by those same things. I worked in a very corporate, job that wasn't entrepreneurial for 1 year out of college, and I hated it. I couldn't do it. It wasn't me. I like the entrepreneurial journey. I love the fact that if I work as hard as I can, if I do everything that I want and I create a successful life around myself, then my business will flourish. My life will flourish. I'm not achieving other people's goals. I'm going after my goals. And that's what I love. And I think that is so important that you try and instill in other people.
Yeah, we share that ethos. And a big part of my story is, and you'll get this being an entrepreneurial guy, and maybe many of your listeners too, is I don't believe that we have to sacrifice our personal balance sheet for our professional balance sheet. And that's kind of where this whole business then started from. You mentioned the masterminds. From chasing that success carrot, I found out that I was putting other people in the passenger seat. My health was in the passenger seat. You and I talked about that earlier as well, how health is so important. It's the foundation and the mindset. So I just found that, you don't have to sacrifice your personal balance sheet. And that's what I was doing for a long time.
And so talk about these masterminds a little bit. How did they get started? What caused you to start them? And
Yeah.
What are they all about?
Yeah, great question. And I'm so excited to jam on this a little bit. So a couple years back, I just had this idea. At that time, I was a stay-at-home dad, and I still wanted to add value and do something in the marketplace, but I wanted to do it on my terms to match my lifestyle. And I said, all right, well, if I could create something, what would I like to create? And I kind of go back to, I'm a personal growth, professional
Yeah.
growth junkie. I love that stuff.
Yep.
So I've been to all the events, all the seminars, all the things. And to me, I just find that I get inspired when I'm doing something. I like to learn
Yeah.
by doing. So I said, all right, I got that. And then I have at one point, the story for my story was burnout. I want to help people that feel burned out, are burned out, or that they just want to avoid it. So I said, I'm going to create this experience. It's going to be on the North Shore of Minnesota, and I'm just going to invite business professionals into it. And I said, give me 48 hours. I can create this container that'll up level your tribe, add value to you, and just give you this space to think. We live in such a distracted world here with our phones that we rarely give ourselves the gift of separating from that. So I marketed it, and I happened to have, Aaron, I didn't intend it to be this way, but I had 10 guys show up, 10 men.
Hmm.
And I didn't intend it to be that way, but it was clear to me after that 48 hours that the high performing, high achieving, energy driving men, they need a space like this. And so I said, all right, I'm going to do another one. And I did the boundary waters of northern Minnesota and Canada. We're going to dog sled. Again, something really unique. And I'm going to combine that with making it a container to learn, to grow, to connect. But I'm going to do it in a really fun way through dog sledding. Really successful. And then I did another one this past fall at Pinehurst, North Carolina, when we did a NASCAR pit crew experience, extremely successful. And I keep it small. I keep it to about 12 to 14 people because I find that's the way to truly connect with other people. So that's kind of how the business was formed. That's where it's gone. And I'm really excited about 2021 and beyond.
That's awesome. Where do you see it going in the future? Do you think that you're going to continue to have these events every so often, or is it something where you want to get to the point where you're having these once a month all around the country or the world?
Great question. So in 2021, I've got 2 of them planned, and I'm going to continue to market them as one-off experiences. So you come in to the experience, and then I hold the group together for 2 months after that, because as you and I talked about earlier, again, accountability is so important. That's how you get things done. So I keep the group together for 2 months after the experience to talk about accountability, to hold guys accountable to what they want to work on. So in 2021, I'll keep doing that, but eventually I see it as more of a larger group that is more of a membership option where they can plug into maybe 3 experiences a year or 1 experience a year, but they stay together as a group for a longer period of time.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Growing up, do you think that you always had this itch to do something outside of the norm? Because I know, you spent a long time in corporate America. Was that just how you were raised? You thought, okay, go to high school, go to college, go to corporate America like most people are? Or do you think that growing up and throughout your childhood that you always had this itch of, I want to do something different. I want to expand my horizons in a different way, but you just didn't really know how to do it?
I love this question because no one's ever really asked me this, but it gives me an opportunity to share this. So, my dad is a carpenter, and he's always been one, and his dad was a carpenter, always been one. And my parents really wanted me to go to college, and they did not want me to get into the trade. So they kind of pushed me into college, and that leads to the corporate path. But what I saw when I was really young is I saw my dad struggle in entrepreneurship. I saw him start a
Mhm.
business, try to hang his own shingles, so to speak, and he
Yeah.
was unsuccessful at it, and he did not like it at all. And I think subconsciously that put a seed into my brain that it's not secure, it's tough. Um, my dad didn't like it, didn't do well at it, and quite honestly failed. And that really put this bug in my ear that entrepreneurship isn't a thing for me to go after. And then it didn't take me until I mean, it took me 15 years, into my professional career to say, I'm going to try this. I'm going to go after
Yeah.
this. But I needed the support around me. I think that's really important for anyone getting into entrepreneurship, especially when you transition from corporate America, is you really need community and you need support, because not
Yeah.
many people will understand your unique challenges in the entrepreneurship world. So that's a great question. And I think it goes all the way back to when I saw my dad fail as an entrepreneur when I was a toddler.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think it's truly important to have some sort of group, some sort of people around you to help push you, to help support you.
Yep.
And, I've been able to really find that through 2020, given, everything's been virtual. I've met a lot of new friends, a lot of new people. I've joined, a group called Wake Up Wealthy. That's basically a bunch of guys supporting each other, pushing each other. It's an incredible group that, I can tell you more about another time if you're ever interested, but it's really incredible. And it seems like it's similar to what you're doing, which is awesome, which makes me say, these experiences must be so cool. And it's something that maybe one day I would be interested in going to one of them. And I think that I potentially may know a lot of people who I could connect you to that might be interested in these experiences from that group as well. And it's such a incredible niche. And I feel like it's a new area that's coming up, because this isn't something, in my opinion, that people would have talked about or really would have been that involved in 5 or 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that's becoming so prevalent and so important to really, whether it be have that outside outlet from what you're currently doing, or some group to push you to achieve your entrepreneurial goals, it's becoming so important.
Yeah, great point. And on that I found that we don't really get our best ideas sitting in front of a laptop or a computer, or like everyone Zooms now, right? But I found that you've got to get out of your day-to-day routine. Now,
Yeah.
what I create is not a quote unquote a business mastermind, but what I found is it's really helpful for guys to work on their business when they step out of their business. And sometimes people got to force you to do, you're not intentional with creating a container for that on your own.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing with, I know I meditate every single day. It's some time where, for that 20 minutes or so, I step away from everything in the world.
Yep.
And I focus on myself. I go inward, and, sometimes you just think of incredible things. Some things just pop into your head during that time, or, I know it's hard for people, but if you ever take a day and you just, unplug from your phone, from your computer,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's something that's really hard for me as well, because everything I'm doing with my businesses is online. But if you can take that time to unplug, that's when you get those visions and you get that progress moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
What have you found, or what have you taught through these experiences you think that really help people move forward? Is it something to do with like their routines, their habits, their disciplines, or is it more the collaboration, communication, and essentially brotherhood that they create?
It's more the latter. It's more of the softer side, I guess you could say, of building a business. It is finding a group of people that, number one, when times are tough, when you face adversity, a lot of times what's really important is just someone to talk to about that, and someone to pull you out of the sand, perhaps when you need that, when you need someone to hold you accountable to someone. Those are more the softer side. And then you also have the networking as well. Like it is networking on steroids, because what I found is I can get guys to be vulnerable and share things like they're really struggling with when they step into an experience. So for example, when I brought a helicopter in to pick guys up from the resort, and then we hovered over a waterfall by a couple 100 feet, there's no doors on the helicopter. And then we land the helicopter, we come back, and I say, all right, just got out of your comfort zone right there. Maybe you faced a little bit of fear, but you overcame it. So where else is fear holding you back in your life? So I can't just have that conversation when we just all get together and have a cup of coffee. But if I can have guys step into an experience, they're more likely to share. And I think that's the real unique thing with these experiences.
Yeah. Is there any kind of really unique or different experience than you've done in the past or you're doing in the future that you would like to plan? Something that you think is going to be just the best one yet, or something that will really stand out? I mean, all of the experiences sound really cool, but is there anything in particular that you're saying, well, this is going to take a lot of time to plan, and I'm going to try and do it in the future, but it's going to be the best one yet?
Mm, what a good question. And man, my brain just goes and you just sent it off in a million different places. I want to go, I want to do a cultural immersion international, and
Hmm.
that will be the most challenging. Number one, logistically for everyone that's going to go, that's challenging. But number two, I always go to the location and I get there at least once, probably twice, and I go through it
Yeah.
in person first. So logistically, that would be the most challenging one. You mentioned meditation earlier. I know a guy who he's in Norway. So this is my answer. Sorry for the long way to get there, but my answer is I want there to be a total outdoor one. So I've got a guy who's in Norway who does guided breath work. Most people have heard of Wim Hof. So he's
Yeah.
trained under Wim Hof. And I almost want to recreate that, but in my own unique way. So what I've done with this guy, and of course his name is Lars, the guy from Norway who does guided breath work, but he does such amazing work with people. And I've had him pop into some of my online communities for 30 minutes. I can only imagine the amount of transformation he could help create if he's given a couple days with people. So if I can integrate him with some sort of outdoor hiking or
Yeah.
extreme outdoor activities, that would be the ultimate that I'm working towards.
That's awesome. I love that.
Hmm.
You know, I think that all of these ideas are incredible, and I know I speak for myself when I say that I'm definitely interested in attending one in the future. They sound really cool, and I
Yeah.
think that they will help a lot of other people as well.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who says, you know, I'm following the routine. I'm following the path of what I think is normal. I'm, going to college. I'm getting a degree. I'm going to get a job after because I think that's what everyone wants. I'm working my way up the ladder, but they're not satisfied. They're not happy with everything in their life. What advice would you give them?
Mm. You said something there that really made me perk up a little bit. You said what other people want. I want people to really search out the meaning of what do you want,
Yep.
and it comes down to, okay, what are your values? What do you believe in? What's the lifestyle you want? And then how do you create something that fits inside of all that? A lot of times we just get so reactive to everything that's going on around us, but can you be proactive
Yep.
and create the life you want based on your values, your beliefs, your lifestyle? And the answer is yes, you can.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but the alternative isn't that much fun either, to keep living a life on someone else's terms.
Yeah.
And it's not that, I mean, some people love the corporate life, and I don't want to bash the corporate life, but
Hmm.
as long as it fits within who you are, what you believe, and what you want out of life,
Yep.
that's great. But I think the answer to that question, Aaron, comes down to what do you want?
Exactly. I completely agree. And I think that too many people are just living on autopilot, so to
Hmm.
speak. And you know what? If they really enjoy the corporate life and they like that, then there's nothing wrong with that. They
Right.
can find the other areas of their life that they need outside of work.
Hmm.
But I think the issue is when people live on autopilot, they're essentially doing what they think they're supposed to do. They're
Yep.
doing what they think others want them to do. And that's not how you should live your life. You need to live your life doing things that you want to do, what you think is best for yourself. And that's really being awake and waking up to your reality. And I think that's what's so important about everything you have going on, because it's allowing people to do that. And
Yeah.
it's really crucial.
Yeah, the autopilot. I like how you put that. You're going to arrive at a destination that you're probably not going to like. So let's get off the autopilot and let's start driving the car. Navigating the ship, whatever analogy you want. But you're in control, and yeah, get yourself to your own destination. I think it's more challenging, but it's a lot more rewarding and fun.
Absolutely. So where can everyone find you? Just tell us about, anything else you have going on, coming up in the near future, but where can everyone find you and be in touch?
I think I'm most active on Instagram, just Kyle_Depiesse. And I love to engage with people. The world of social media can be noisy and crowded, and it's hard to build authentic relationships, but I truly enjoy being in touch with people. I mean, you and I got connected through Instagram. And so
Yep.
I respond to all the messages. It's me on there. I love to engage with people, have conversations. And I just love to root people on. So if I can be someone to support and cheerlead for others, I'm all for that. So I'm most active on Instagram. I have a website too, which is just my first name, then my last name, KyleDepiesse.com. And then the podcast, which you and I are, I had you on mine, and depending on when this releases, it might be around the same time, but the podcast is called Reaching Beyond. And that's where I put out a lot of content as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on, Kyle. I'm really looking forward to my listeners hearing this and really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you, Aaron. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed it at all, if you got one thing out of it, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe, rate, and review. Thank you.